Hello children, good morning. We were doing the lesson power sharing and we will continue with the same topic. Now we are going to see majoritarianism in Sri Lanka. Now, what do you mean by majoritarianism? Majoritarianism means the majority of the people of the same religion or language, we call it as majoritarianism. Okay, they are in majority. Okay, so it can be language based, it can be religion based. Okay, so they are in majority. The population who are speaking more language of say whichever language, so they are called as majoritarians. And in religion also we can say whichever religion like Christianity, Hinduism, whichever language or whichever religion they are adopting the most, they are called as majority, in majority. Okay, now as you know that Sinhala speakers in Sri Lanka were in majority. They were 74%, as you have seen in the previous session, that Sinhala community were 74% and they were the leading or majority were the Sinhalas in Sri Lanka. Now what happened because of that? Okay, what happened because the Sinhala community was in majority, what did they do to the Tamilians? Okay, so Sri Lanka emerged as an independent country in 1948. Okay, the leaders of the Sinhala community sought to secure dominance over the government by virtue of their majority. That means they wanted to show their majority over the Tamilians who were just 18%. Okay, as I told you, 18% of them were the Tamilians. In that, 13% were the Tamilians who belonged to the native of Sri Lanka. So they were called as what? Sri Lankan Tamilians. And the 5% who were the Indian Tamilians, they were called as the Indian Tamilians in Sri Lanka. So these Sinhalas, since they were in majority 74%, they wanted to show their dominance over the Tamilians. Now as a result, the democratically elected government adopted a series of majoritarian measures, okay, to establish what? To establish Sinhala supremacy. Now what is majoritarianism? I told you what majoritarianism is. It is a belief that the majority community should be able to rule a country in whichever way it wants. Okay, by disregarding the wishes and needs of the minorities. That means you are becoming more powerful. Who is becoming more powerful? The majority community want to show its power over the minorities who were less in numbers, as they are doing in Sri Lanka. 74% Sinhalas, they wanted to show that they were superiors to the Tamilians who were just 18%. Okay, now what did these people do? Who? The Sinhalas, what did they do? They adopted several measures. Okay, in 1956 an act was passed to recognize Sinhala as a only official language, thus disregarding Tamilians. Now, once this act was officially announced, the Sinhalese felt very disheartened. Why? Why? Because now the official language was what? Sinhalese and not Tamil. That means all the government offices, buildings, documents, files, everything will be written in Sinhala language only. Okay, and so the Tamilians who were working in office and elsewhere who did not know Sinhala language, they had to go away from the office, or they did not know how to work. So this was something that was very hurting for the Tamilians, because now they had to leave their jobs because they did not know Sinhala language. So now what happened? This was the first step adopted by the Sinhalese in Sri Lanka. Now, the second thing what did they do was the government followed preferential policies that favored Sinhala applicants for university positions and government jobs. Now, every application which was in Tamil, or it was a Tamilian applicant offering for a job, or application for the job, or universities or college, school, their application forms were thrown into the dustbins. Okay, because they did not want to offer anything to the Tamilians. Okay, they wanted to favor only the Sinhalese. So the applications which were written in Sinhali language, or it was from the Sinhali community, only those were accepted and the others were rejected. And so this was the second step where the Tamilians felt that they had no place in their own country, because um, Sinhali language was adopted as the official language, and now they made such a rule that the application forms which were written in Tamil were not accepted. They favored only Sinhala applicants. So this, by this, the Sri Lankan Tamilians were very hurt. Now, the third thing that they did was a new constitution stipulated that the state shall protect and foster Buddhism. Now, Buddhism is a religion, and now the official religion that would be followed in Sri Lanka was Buddhism. Now, so the Tamilians who favored Hinduism, or who were the worshippers of Shiva, they did not have any place. Their gods and goddesses had no value. Okay, why? Because Buddhism was the official religion of the Sri Lankan country. Now, all these made the Tamilians feel very left out. Okay, they felt like they were aliens, and they were very hurt and disappointed by the Sinhala communities, and they started asking for their demands. Okay, now they felt that none of the major political parties led by the Buddhist Sinhala leaders were sensitive to their language and culture. Okay, so the Sri Lankan Tamilians launched parties and struggles for the recognition of Tamil as an official language, but which was not done anyway. So by 1980, several political organizations were formed demanding an independent Tamil Elam. Elam is nothing but a state. So in northern eastern parts of Sri Lanka, where more Tamilians were there, they started demanding for their own state. But the Sinhala communities refused to give that. And so what happened due to that? Now we will see the reaction of the Tamilians and the civil war. Okay, the distrust between the two communities turned into a widespread conflict. Okay, it turned out into a civil war. Now, what is a civil war? A violent conflict between opposing groups within a country that becomes so intense that it appears like a war. Okay, now what do you mean by this? Means within the country, the two communities, the Sinhalas and the Tamilians, started to fight. Okay, literally they were fighting with weapons. Okay, so this war, which is within the country between two communities, is called as civil war. Okay, now as a result, what happened because of the civil war? Thousands of people of both the communities were killed. Okay, many families were forced to leave the country as refugees, and many lost their livelihoods. Many came to India in Tamil Nadu. Okay, so this is what had happened because of uh, the majoritarianism that was followed in Sri Lanka. Now we will see what happened in Belgium. Okay, we know the composition of Belgium. Okay, the ethnic composition I have taught you. Right, now here we are going to see the accommodation in Belgium. The Belgium leaders took a different path. Okay, they recognized the existence of regional differences and cultural diversities. Okay, both between 1920 and 1993. Okay, they amended their constitution 4 times. Okay, so that they could work out an arrangement that could enable everyone to live together within the same country. Okay, now the arrangement they worked out is different and innovative. It inspired many of the constitution makers later on. Okay, now we will see what were the elements of the Belgian model of the constitution. Okay, now constitution prescribes that the number of Dutch and the French speaking ministers shall be equal in the central government. Okay, did you follow? Dutch and French speaking ministers will be equal in the central government. No single community can make decisions unilaterally. Okay, what do you mean by unilaterally? That means no one single community can make decisions of their own and make it a law. Okay, all the communities put together only should take the decisions. Only then it will become a law. Okay, that is called as unilateral decisions. No unilateral decisions. Okay, then many powers of the central government have been given to the state governments. The state governments are not subordinate to the central government. Okay, both are equal and both are sharing the powers, equal powers. All right, so that was the decisions that they had taken. Okay, that were the measures that they have taken so that they don't disappoint any of the communities, whether it is French, Dutch or Germans. Okay, although Germans were just 1%, they included everyone into the constitution equally. Okay, that is what they had decided. Now, what were the constitutional measures as far as Brussels is concerned? Brussels is the capital of Belgium. Okay, Brussels had a separate government. Okay, in which both the communities had equal representation. The French speaking people accepted equal representation in Brussels because the Dutch speaking community has accepted equal representation in the central government. Okay, because in the central government they had given equal representation to the Dutch and French. In Brussels also, although they had a separate government, the community has equal representation. Okay, then the last one and the most important one what they had adopted, okay, was community government. Now what is this community government means? Apart from the central and the state government, there was a third kind of government, and this government is elected by the people belonging to one language community, French, Dutch and German speaking. Okay, no matter where they live. Now this government has a power regarding cultural, educational and language related issues. Okay, so every community will have their own what? Community government, and they had access to what powers? The cultural, educational and language related issues they could solve and make their community more prosperous and more what should I say, culturally talented, educationally far off and language related issues. Now with this we have completed one session of the power sharing. Please do the worksheet which is there attached. Okay, thank you children.